Hello, Maria here, the Creative Italian. Happy 2023. I came on here to share with you this really easy breezy way of making this necklace right here. But before I get started, if this is your first time here or you're even if you're a subscriber, if you like any of my videos, if you'll give it the thumbs up, it'll really help get my videos out there and make it easier for people to find me that might be looking for what I have to offer. And also, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video to my channel, if you'll hit the subscribe button, you'll get a notification as soon as I upload a video, even a regular video or a shorts video. It doesn't really make any difference. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the necklace I'm going to be doing. It has some knotting in it, leather knotting. And this pendant that I made out of wire, this was really easy to do. So these are the tools that I'm gonna be using for this project. Let me put my tools in here real quick. Okay, a bead tube, two 13 millimeter. This is a Chalcedony and a Peruvian opal. I'll be using 18 gauge wire. 26 gauge wire. I'm using a little bit of chain here and two 8 millimeter jump rings and a lobster clasp. I don't know what size that is. I forgot, to be honest with you, but you just have to use whatever size you need. And also some cord crimps. These are great for leather cord. I'll be using GS Hypo Cement. 2 millimeter black cord. Also, I have a ruler handy. Always have a ruler. And I will be using bent nose pliers. These are pliers that smooth out wire. They're apps. You don't have to have this. It's Tooltron product. As you can see, they're kind of beat up because I use them all the time. I have the round nose plier that I'll be using, a wire cutter, a chain nose plier, and also the Bead Smith bail maker. And I'm going to be using this one right here, the 20 millimeter, to create this pendant, to create this shape of this pendant, okay? And of course I've got a ruler. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to cut off, I've already cut my wire here. This is my 18 gauge wire. And I'm going to smooth it out with my smoothing tool here. Okay. It's a little bit more than 4 inches, but not that much more. Okay, so then I'm going to use my bail maker and insert the bail maker into the wire evenly, so that when I bend it up and I make my teardrop, it'll be pretty close to the same length as it comes up through the top. So as you can see, it's a little bit longer on one side. So that's no big deal. I'll just squeeze it together and snip it, cut it a little shorter. That's no big deal, okay? Now I'm gonna use my round nose plier and insert the wire to the largest end of my tool here, but I don't wanna close it all the way because I'm gonna be wire wrapping that with the bead, and I want plenty of room to work with before I close it. Now I just closed it just a little bit, just open it back up. And sometimes you'll get a little bit, it won't line up, but don't worry about that because after we add the bead to it, then we can, straighten that out. So that's not a big deal. Okay, now I'm going to use my 26 gauge wire and I'm going to take off about 10 inches. You can use 24 gauge wire if you wanted to. And I'm going to take the wire and just hold it right there. Just kind of hold that end down until I can get it wrapped. Give it a good wrap. Just like that. And then I'm actually, because this wire is so soft, I could just bend it up like so. Okay, so I'm just going to snip that little piece off right there. Let me get that in there. Push that in a little bit. So by smashing it in and just pressing it, it keeps it from sliding up and down. So, well, it's supposed to anyway. You guys, right here. Okay, see, I missed that little piece right there. So I'm just gonna, the other side, like so. It's a little bit easier to do once you get one side on there, and then just start wrapping. There you go. See, I like the way that looks. So I'm just going to take this and cut that. And then I like to take the wire and kind of squeeze it together like so. And then take my pliers and just sort of squeeze, press. In other words, I'm just pressing the wire down and around. It just keeps the wire snug. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the ring and close it up on either side. Okay, so there you go. Now, as you can see, it's not quite lined up. You know, and that's going to happen while you're making it. So all you have to do is just kind of bend it back in place so it's, you know, even on both sides, and it's not, one side's not going back or to the front. And now we're going to take another, okay, I like to use about 10 inches for this wire wrap. About 10 inches for this particular wrap. It's the twist, double twist wrap that I showed in my short video. 10 inches seems to be a good length. But of course, if you want more wrapping around the top of your bead, then you would use, a longer piece, of course. So that's my 26 gauge wire, again. And now my chalcedony, sorry, I got it out of the camera there, you guys. So what I'm doing here is I'm pushing at the top of the bead, and I'm sort of crossing the wires over each other like so, but I want to make sure that they are lined up at the top of the bead in the middle. In other words, I don't want this cross, I don't want it going to the left or the right. I want it to be at the top. So once I get it there, I'm going to take my thumb and hang on to that, and then I'm going to start twisting and then gently pulling with a little bit of tension away from the bead. Now, when you're doing this, what I have found is that if I'm working with a crystal or a topaz or fluorite, or the crystals that tend to be a little bit on the softer side, I want to be careful not to use too much tension as I'm twisting. The tighter the twist, the tighter the tension, the tighter the twist. This is not the super tight. It's sort of like medium tight, which is a-okay. Sometimes I'd rather have it that way than take a chance on chipping the holes, because believe me, I have done that a number of times. So I've learned, when I'm not sure, I would rather do a little bit less tension and have some texture. And it doesn't just have to be the tightest texture for it to look good, is what I'm saying. Okay, now I'm going to get to the end here, and I'm just going to snip that off. And now I'm going to take my round nose plier, and I'm going to, for this 18 gauge wire, I'm going to stay pretty much to the tip of the round nose because I don't want the opening to be too big. I want it to be kind of small, and I want really plenty of wrap around, you know, the top of the briolette. So first of all, I'm going to bend the wire away from me, then turn my pliers up, bend the wire towards me, then flatten out the pliers and pull the wire away from me, but I'm going to bring it down just a little bit so I have an opening. You can see I have that little opening right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to slide it onto the wire here, frame, and I'm going to wrap it from here. Now, the other option is to wrap it and then use a little jump ring and add it on. And you could certainly do that if you wanted to. I just happen to like the way it looks like this, so I'm going to do it that way. So all I'm doing is just holding on to that with my chain nose pliers, and then I just start wrapping around with my hand. You know, you can use pliers to wrap around, but actually the gauge of this wire makes it so that, you know, you really don't have to do that. And, you know, a lot of times, too, I'll just kind of, I'll just take my thumb and press down on the edges like that and see how it gives it a neater kind of wrap. Not that it has to be a neat wrap, because it doesn't. It could be more organic looking, more bird's nest looking, they call it. But if you want it to be a little bit neater wrap, just take your thumb and just stay there on the edge. Just like that. And just press it in. And now see this little piece right here? I don't want that, you know, to stay there. That little piece right there. That right there. Because that'll catch on somebody's clothes. So I'm just going to go ahead. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and just press that down. Yeah. Or turn it in. You can even turn it up over this and just sort of press it in. But the main thing is that you don't have any sticky outies there. Okay, so now what I've got here, it's sort of hanging to the side. That's no big deal. All I'm going to do is grab it by the throat of the ring and just very gently turn it. Yep, did that do it? Almost. So I'm just going to grab it again by the throat and very gently turn it so that way it's hanging like so, okay, to the front or whichever side you're going to use. I mean, the one thing about doing this kind of a wrap, if it's a little bit more organic looking, one side is going to look a little different than the other. You just choose which side you like better, that's all. You know, and then go with it. Okay, now we are going to cut the cord and add the cord onto the pendant. Okay, now I'm going to take 30-inch 2mm leather cord. I'm going to cut it in half because we need one side for each loop on the pendant. Now I'm going to take one end and slip it through my loop here. And this is where I'm going to show you how to do a real easy knot. It's a 3-wrap knot, and I like to measure 1 1/4 inches for the short piece on both sides because I want both sides to be the same length when I get finished. So I'm going to hold on to those 2 pieces and lay the bead tube on top of those 2 pieces, and I'm going to bump it up to my loop right there so I can get the knot, the barrel knot rather, that's what I call it, a barrel knot, and try to get it up as close to that loop as I possibly can. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap the cord away from me, going to the left, and I'm going to wrap it around the bead tube 3 times. And once I get to the end, after I've wrapped it 3 times, I'm going to come back under and then slip it through the hole of the bead tube going from my left to my right. If you're left-handed, you're going to go in the opposite direction, just like this. So I'm going to pass it all the way through to the opposite end until I get it all the way through and I feel it tighten up, and then slip the bead tube off. So here I'm taking both cords, the short and the long, and I'm just pulling on it to tighten up my barrel knot here so it's nice and snug. And it feels like I got it there, so I think we're good to go, okay? All right, and the short piece you're going to leave like it is for right now. We are going to cut that, but not yet. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, about 1 1/4 inches on the short piece. Hold it together, lay the bead tube on top of the cord, and bump up, the bead tube as close to the wire loop as you can. And again, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to wrap the cord away from me around the bead tube, traveling to my left to create my barrel knot. I'm using 3 loops. You can do 2, but I'm using 3 here. And so once I get on the other side, after 3, whoops, I'm out of the camera there. Sorry about that, you guys. Then I'm going to pass it through from left to right. And if you're left-handed, you're going to be going in the opposite direction. That's all you have to remember. It's real easy. Okay, then just take the cord and come all the way through. Slide the bead tube off. Take those 2 cords and tighten them up really good, up snug, and that looks like it's really doing good for me. So, and there you got a really easy barrel knot. This technique is I learned how to do here on YouTube from Kelly's Bead Boutique. She's got a YouTube channel on here. She teaches all kinds of classes on jewelry making. She's very, very good. I've learned a lot from her. And this is a real easy barrel knot technique that I actually picked up from her. Okay, now we're going to cut the short pieces. But before we do, we're going to use our GS Hypo Cement and just put a little dab right between the short and the long cord. It takes a few minutes for this to dry. So I always recommend putting this on before you cut the short cord, the shorter end. Let it just set just a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Okay. All right, now I'm going to snip it off. And on the end right there, I'm going to take a magic marker or a Sharpie, and I forgot to mention that as one of the tools I'm using. And I'm just taking the magic marker and going over the end right there to make it match up with the cord, because when you cut it, it's a little lighter through there. So the Sharpie covers that up. And you could use the black Sharpie on dark brown cord, and it works great. I mean, it really does, believe it or not. So anyway, there you go. Okay, now I'm going to add on the cord crimps. But before I do, I'm going to add a little bit of GS Hypo Cement to each of the cord crimps first before I add those onto the cord. It takes just a minute or two for the adhesive the cement to hold up, just to set up a little bit, but not long. So I just put just a tiny bit on there, and then I push the cord down into the crimp. And now just press it down in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this up by using my chain nose pliers. And I'm going to go on the back side of it. As you can see, I'm wanting to close up the gap right there just a little bit. I don't want it completely closed because these are going to overlap each other like an envelope. Like one's going to lay on top of the other. But I need to close it up a little bit first before I start that process. And now I use the very tip of the pliers to start up at the top there where the hole is and just press down. And just keep working my way down until it's completely flat on the cord. And that way I know I have a really nice grip with the crimp against the cord. And then after I get done with that, the other side is real easy because all I'm going to do is just press that down, working from the top to the bottom until it just lays over flat on the other side. So it's just going to, like I said, it's going to lay over each other like you would an envelope. And that makes it very secure. And of course, the GS Hypo Cement makes it super secure. So I've already done the other side here. Now I'm going to take a little bit of chain link. It's just it's 8mm chain link. And it's just so that people have an option of making it a little bit shorter, a little bit longer. But it's up to you as to how much of that you want to use. But that's basically what it's for. And to open and close the link, I just insert the pliers going in the opposite direction. So one's going away from me, one's going towards me. And it's always better to use the flat nose plier and the bent nose plier to do this. I'm just going back. And then I'm slipping it through the hole. And then I'm going to just go in the opposite direction. The flat nose goes to the back. The bent nose goes to the front. And until I hear a click. I want to hear a click. If I hear a click, that means that there's not going to be any space in between the link when I close it up. So the click is what I always listen for. And now I'm going to add the lobster clasp. Just add it on to my jump ring here. And I opened and closed it the exact same way that I showed you. And now I'm going to close it. The flat nose is going to the back. The chain link is coming towards me until I hear that click. And I don't want to open it up really wide and really big because it could change the shape and the form of the jump ring. So there you go, you guys. It's all done. Give it a try. I hope it works out good for you. Let me know. All righty. Thanks for watching. So anyway, thanks for watching. There were a lot of different techniques in there. They're pretty simple to do, but I was thinking to myself, okay, these are a lot of techniques for me to be showing in one necklace. Because usually I keep things pretty basic and simple, but today I did good, I think. I hope I did anyway. So if you have any questions or comments, you guys leave it in the comments because I respond in less than 24 hours. If it's over 24 hours, it's pretty unusual. And also there will be a list of all the tools and supplies I used today on the, down below. And again, if you like my video, if you'll just give it a thumbs up, or any of my videos, this one or any of them, if you give me a thumbs up, it would really help grow my channel. And maybe people will find me. They're looking for what I have to offer. And also, if you want to be notified as soon as I upload a new video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And you'll be notified if it's a short or if it's a regular video, you'll be notified. So anyway, thanks again, you guys. I'll be back. Hopefully I'll be back sooner than like 2 months ago since I've done one. Okay, well, thanks a lot for watching, and hope 2023 is gonna be a really good year for you guys. And all right, so let's get going, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.